Since Witchbrook was announced back in 2018, the devs have kept pretty quiet about what this cozy magical game has in store for us. So many of us cozy gamers have been eagerly awaiting more news, for so long that some of us have even been starting to wonder if the game itself is some sort of urban legend. But now the long wait is finally over. We got a huge drop of information from Nintendo Direct, and then another follow-up trailer from the Chucklefish Games channel itself, as well as a press release with some inside information and perspectives from the devs. So, I'll start by giving you some information about Witchbrook to catch up anyone who hasn't been following the game. And once everyone's up to speed, I'll share some speculations and some of my own reactions and opinions on the two trailers. We've got a lot of exciting information to cover that you won't want to miss, so let's dive in. If you're not familiar with Witchbrook, it's a top-down isometric indie pixel art game developed by Chucklefish Games, the same studio that made Starbound, Eastward, and Stardew Valley. The game is being developed alongside Robotality, a small indie studio in Germany known for their pixel art games. Now, there has been some confusion, so just to clarify, Witchbrook is not being developed by Eric Barone, aka Concerned Ape, the creator of Stardew Valley. He's currently working on Haunted Chocolatier. Instead, Witchbrook is an in-house project made by Chucklefish. Witchbrook will be available on PC, on Steam, Nintendo Switch, and it'll launch on Xbox Game Pass right from day one. Other platforms are still to be confirmed. You'll also be able to play it in a variety of languages, including English, French, German, Spanish, Brazilian Portuguese, Japanese, Simplified Chinese, and Traditional Chinese, making Witchbrook accessible for a wide variety of players. And the release date for this game has finally been officially announced. It's slated to come out in winter 2025, specifically in holiday 2025, so perhaps we'll see it released later in Q4 of the year around Christmas time. It's been a long time coming, mainly since the devs have embraced a 4-day work week and a no-crunch policy, aiming to create a healthy, low-stress environment where creativity for the devs can thrive. But according to producer Rosie Ball, players will feel the care and attention put into Witchbrook, so hopefully the game will be well worth the long wait. In Witchbrook, you play as a witch who enrolls at Witchbrook College, a magical school where you can attend classes, complete assignments, and learn new magical abilities. You can compete with your coven to become top of the class, brew potions, harness mystical energies, and consult the stars to shape your future. Over time, your studies can also unlock greater magical skills, which you can use to help the local community in Mossbrook or simply add some enchantment to your everyday life. Art director Steph Cascanet has described the game as a love letter to thoughtful living and the connections we build over time, with hopes that Witchbrook will become a cozy, relaxing space where players can make lasting memories, whether solo or when playing with friends. And yes, Witchbrook is going to be both single-player and multiplayer. There will be online 4-player co-op, so you and up to 3 friends can embark on adventures together, race brooms, craft spells, or even just relax in Mossbrook, the cozy seaside town where the game takes place. And yes, the game does seem very cozy and aesthetically quite relaxing. Witchbrook's polished and vibrant pixel art design certainly helps draw you into the charming, almost rustic, bustling seaside city of Mossbrook. And the music we've heard from the trailer so far has been enchanting and cute, perfectly matching the game's atmosphere. Even better, the developers have stated that they really want Mossbrook to feel alive with activity, changing with the seasons and evolving alongside your journey. The developers have also confirmed that the townspeople, your fellow coven members, and your professors are all going to have unique routines in the game. Some will work at local shops, hang out at the pub, or study for exams at the college's library, making the world feel dynamic and alive. And you can expect seasonal community events similar to Stardew Valley's festivals in Witchbrook too, where you can participate in various activities and celebrate the changing of the seasons with the town's residents. And yes, there will be seasons like spring, summer, fall, and winter in the game. You'll see the characters all bundled up in their winter clothes. Every season will bring new activities, events, and seasonal changes. Witchbrook will also feature a colorful cast of dateable characters, each with their own unique stories and aspirations. You can build friendships, flirt, go on dates, and even pursue deep romances with these characters. And the developers have mentioned that they are aiming for a more realistic and lifelike relationship system in Witchbrook than what you might see in competitor farming sims, where affection can be raised in ways beyond just gifting NPCs items, and romantic partners might even get upset if a date goes poorly. Although the dateable characters themselves haven't been officially revealed yet, some familiar faces have appeared in the footage and images so far. Who do you think the romanceable characters might be? Let me know your guesses in the comments. And what can you actually do in the game on a typical day? It looks like you'll have the ability to attend classes, as you would expect in any Hogwarts-esque magical school-style game, but you can also spend your time as you'd like between your classes. You can choose to go foraging in the deep woodland, sell crafts at the Sunday market in the city, attend seasonal festivals and events, shop at the local boutiques, take scenic pictures around Mossbrook, play arcade games, prepare for romantic dates, and more. So it seems like it's somewhat of an open world-ish life sim where you can explore or adventure as you'd like. You'll also get a cozy cottage in the woods that you can customize and renovate. Plus, your garden can turn into a thriving habitat for plants and wildlife, which may mean farming and some kind of animal raising will exist in the game. The recent trailer also showed off how you can use magic to rearrange furniture in the game, giving you full creative control over how your home looks on the inside, too. In addition to customizing your home, Witchbrook has also confirmed that character customization will exist in the game. Although there aren't a ton of details on this yet, the developers do claim that you'll be able to change your character's clothing, hair, and accessories in order to express your own unique aesthetic. Apparently, in addition to selling your items at the Sunday market too, you can also run your own business in Mossbrook, since the developers have said that you can partner with local shops to sell handcrafted goods to help support your studies. And that isn't all. Rodrigo Braz Monteiro, another member of the development team, has said in a recent quote that everything we've seen so far is just a small glimpse of what Witchbrook has to offer. They've said that they can't wait for the community to see what's coming next. So now that everyone is up to speed about what Witchbrook is and what the recent press release had to say about the game, let's take a look at the two new trailers. First, we have the one from Nintendo Direct, which I'll play now. Right away, you can hear water flowing and birds chirping as the player flies toward the college on their broomstick. The pixel art, in my opinion, is just stunning, and the nature in the game looks absolutely gorgeous. There are benches nestled beneath lush and winding green trees, and I love how the various trees and rocks each have their own unique shapes. There's little frogs on the water side, as well as wildflowers growing, and you can see cute little things like birdhouses and birds of different colors flying around. I love the little touches like lily pads on the water and various colored flowers all along the outside walls of the school. This particular character looks like she has long green hair, and I love the fact that it's animated to kind of flow behind her, as well as a fairly basic looking broomstick with a straight handle and plain looking bristles. It looks like there are some statues of witches around the school, as well as animals like lions and deer, and some hanging flags too. The little touches like leaves on the ground and students sitting on benches and standing around in groups really goes a long way to make the school feel real and lifelike right off the bat. And the details like the gorgeous stained glass windows, embellishments in the stone walkways, plants hanging down from and climbing over the walls of the school, and the accents on the doors are really astounding too. You can see the care that went into every little aspect of this game visually, and it really makes for an immersive and beautiful looking game. The inside of the school is just as nice too. It looks like the lion and deer are standing around a shield, which makes me think that this is probably the college's crest. And they've put flowers in the cauldrons in front of what appears to possibly be a gardening class, since it has some little flower icons on each side of its entrance. There's some kind of desk with a register and some paper sitting on it, which must be some kind of check-in area, or it may even be where you'll need to go to pay your school tuition. And there are long stairways and doors leading to different parts of the school too. And here it looks like we're getting a look at one of our classes, where we can apparently use magic circles to perform various rituals. The students are sitting around on pillows in a circle, casting some kind of green magic for this particular ritual, and there are posters on the wall of animals as well as various magical crystals scattered around the room. And it looks like the same room may be used for our broom flying class. Judging by the dialogue in this clip, it seems like we can call the broom to our side somehow whenever we want to fly. And I want to take a moment here to stop and look at all of these gorgeous brooms. Every single one is different. We have some that look like plain starter brooms, and others that are wrapped with bows or scarves of some kind, as well as one that the Professor Bardot, has, which has the bristles actually wrapped up on it. It looks like the colors of the bristles on the brooms can be different, since we do see one here that's bright pink, and the shapes and colors of the actual broomsticks have a lot of variety to them too. I love that little touch, and I'm really excited to pick out my own broomstick and maybe even design it as well. This part of the trailer here looks like it's showing us that feature I mentioned before that allows you to somehow consult the stars in order to shape your future. It seems like you'll be able to walk up and use a telescope that looks to be in some kind of observatory that's attached to the college. And you can look at the constellations in the sky to get information like the paragraphs you see in the top left corner of the screen. I'm not totally clear here how the stars and info shown are going to shape what's going on in the game, but I'm sure we'll see more information on this soon. And now the trailer shows the player riding on a scooter. This player, instead of having long green hair, has short red-orange hair and a yellow witch hat. It seems like the player is driving through the town to do a delivery of some sort, judging by the package sitting on the back of the scooter. And gosh, just look at the town. They really made it feel like Mossbrook has a strong sea theme. From the little fish embedded into the sidewalks and benches, to the umbrella tables, and all of the people walking outside in skirts and shorts. And now this is an example, it looks like, of hanging out with a friend and giving her a gift. This NPC has a long pink ponytail and is named Hannah, and seeing as we're giving her a gift to raise affection in this clip, I'm going to assume she is probably a romanceable character. It looks like she lives above a furniture store called Calico, and I really hope that these clothing items we see on the mannequins are items that we can actually purchase, because the outfit on the far left side especially looks very cute. But honestly, I think what stands out the most here in terms of cuteness is the furniture. This is probably one of the most adorable, most pink rooms I've seen in a game of this style, and I love all the little decorations like the curtains around the bed, the vanity, the sewing machine, the hanging string lights, the messy witch clutter here and there, the little record player, and even the workout area that has a matching pink punching bag sitting in the corner. It's so cute, and I hope we'll be able to have some similar decorations to this in our own cottages later on. Here we have a character walking up to the quest board, and it looks like there are 3 different quests we could choose here. A spoonful of sadness, which sounds like some kind of spelled cooking or potion recipe quest. A missing piece, which is harder to tell what kind of quest that might be, a puzzle or delivery maybe. And barking up the art tree, in which it looks like we'll have to possibly go to the telescope and do a star reading for a character in. We get 500 coins for doing this quest, which appears to be our currency for the game, as well as 20 of this book icon, which I'd assume is some kind of knowledge stat or general experience stat. I'm not sure how much our tuition is that we will have to pay for in this game, and how far 500 coins would go to affording it though, so we'll just have to see. And here's a player making a delivery, it looks like, judging by the hat and the little bag on their back. And this particular clip makes me wonder if we might have some kind of uniforms that we'll need to wear for certain jobs or not. And here we have a look at some kind of spell-based crafting system in the game too. It looks like we're either trying to make a decoration table item or using a workbench called the decoration table to make a piece of decor, and we have a variety of flowers and other ingredients going into it. There also seems to be some kind of point-and-click game or puzzle mechanic that we'll have to do to complete our crafting, but I'm not entirely clear on how this might work yet. Now it looks like they're giving us a quick look at the Sunday market I mentioned before, where it seems like different stands will sell food, gardening supplies, and other miscellaneous items. The trailer says that you can sell things as well, so that's really exciting, and it gives us a different alternative to doing quests to pay for our tuition. Here, they're showcasing multiplayer. As you can see, multiple characters are flying on their broomsticks together at once. There's the green-haired player we saw earlier, as well as the guy who is accepting a quest at the quest board, I think. It looks like they're all flying away from a house, flying above traffic, and what appears to be a flower farm, which raises questions like, will quests, items, and money be shared in multiplayer, and will players have their own separate cottages to decorate or not? In this clip, it looks like players can actually attend classes together, and it seems like once everyone is seated, the teacher will begin to give a lecture. I can't quite tell what kind of class this is, but there's something on the chalkboard, some scrolls and gems in the cases near the top, a globe at the side, and a sword at the bottom. So perhaps it's some kind of general spellcasting class or maybe a history class of some kind. This looks like maybe a different area of the Sunday market where it seems like pictures, flowers, and hats are being sold. And there's two signs that seem to be leading into that big flower garden that we've seen before. Here we see our first look at the player's actual house and the home decorating system. The player is moving around a table, and it looks like she's able to rotate it using magic and place it dynamically using the square grid beneath it. You can also see a kitchen area, which makes me wonder if there is cooking in the game and if those cooking appliances are functional or not, as well as multiple rooms you can decorate and even a staircase going up to a second story. So it looks like there will be a lot of decorating you can do in your little cottage. There's also a small parking spot outside for your scooter, it seems like, and a little house thing that could maybe be an animal house? I'm not sure. And here we have some players coming out of a pastry shop with some coffee, while another player flies by on her broomstick. Now, I'll be honest, the first things I noticed in this clip were actually the cats, which probably tells you what kind of person I am. But there's a cute little calico in the top left and maybe a little bangle or something beneath the tree too. So I'm hoping we can potentially have cat companions in this game, since there's clearly been some art that's been made for them. Okay, wow, I know that was a short teaser, but I feel like they showed us quite a bit. And I'm really excited to take a look at the next one and do a little breakdown of it too. So here's the one that Chucklefish released as well, with some additional scenes. This one starts with the green-haired player we saw in the last video running and then walking up to what looks to be the grand entrance to the school. I'm not sure if this is an animation that's like a cutscene or if they're telling us we'll be able to run and walk in the game as well as fly, but if we can run, that would be pretty cool. Once again, everything looks beautiful both outside and inside the school. And this time, as they're showing us the inside, we're getting a look at what seems to be the college's library. And if you pause right there, it looks like we'll have different types of book sections in the library that we may be able to check out. Right away, I see a hammer icon, which probably means crafting, a tree, which could mean foraging or orcharding, a wand, which is probably just the general spellcasting section, and the Witchbrook icon or a star, which could maybe mean history and knowledge in general, or could be related to the astrology and star reading that we saw before. And I know you can't see it super well in this clip, but the red drapery next to the hammer is a plus sign, which I think will be healing magic possibly. And to the left of that is a crystal ball, a little plant seedling, and a potion icon, which might mean divination, gardening, and potion making literature are there for you to study as well. Now they show us a little look at the school's courtyard, which is filled with students relaxing between classes, and a look at what appears to be a broom store judging by the broomstick sitting on the pedestal behind the front glass window. And here too, we get to see a few more different broomstick shapes, bristle shapes and colors, and a little bow ribbon accessory in the color blue this time. Throughout these clips, we've also been able to see several different outfits, character appearances, and hat styles. Like, here you'll see there's a straight tipped hat style that one of the player characters was wearing before, while someone else is walking past the store with a hat that has a tip falling to the side. That person also has a little bag on their back like the player that did the delivery quest too, So I'm starting to wonder if that's just a backpack style or an accessory you can choose and not necessarily a work uniform. And you can see that the Broom store is actually located right below the lion and deer archway we saw before, which leads into the campus area, so it seems like the Broom store is very close to the school. Once again, they show the quest board in town and the class where you're learning to use your broomstick. But this time, they also show what appears to be a new classroom with a giant cauldron in the middle. And judging by the bottles of various ingredients and the mortar and pestles and little potion pots sitting around on the students' desks, this is probably a potion making class. Now we see the player lighting a fireplace in some sort of lounge area in the school, and again walking up to the telescope and participating in a ritual circle. This here is our first look at driving the player's scooter to do deliveries, which looks a little hectic. I didn't expect us to have to be weaving around traffic, but it does seem like we may need to. And here we have a little store called Brook Books, and we get a peek on the inside where there's a little conversation going on. Now we get to see the player actually making a delivery on their scooter to a little shop called Wildflower. And what's really cool about this store in particular is that it looks like this will be the place for you to go to buy your gardening supplies, since there's a bucket, watering can, and various plants that appear to have little for sale signs beneath them here. And now the character is walking out of Dobro's with a donut as a snack, and you can see beside it that there's a little coffee shop nearby too called Caffeina. I'm surprised that there are so many different food places around Mossbrook, and it makes me curious if there's like some kind of hunger or stamina system in the game that would make it so you actually need to eat somewhat frequently. It also hasn't escaped my notice that the shops seem to be numbered, so it may be possible for you to piece together the layout of the town and figure out quite a few of the overall shops if you peek back and look at the different numbers around Mossbrook. Here they're showing the player running through a courtyard with some benches, some bikes, some statues, and a little gazebo. I have noticed some bikes sitting around town, and I'm assuming these are probably just decorative and not rideable, since there's already scooters and broomsticks in the game, but who knows. I love the string lights hanging around the area here, as well as the vining plants twisting around the gazebo. But what's really beautiful is how much care the devs put into the shifting visuals for summer and autumn. The red trees and fallen leaves do really make it feel like you're in an entirely different season. And it's just really beautiful. And we can see in this clip as well that the player seems to be using magic to repair an old fountain. So it looks like we'll be able to repair various things around the school or town. We get another view of the Sunday market, it seems like too, with the player walking around with an ice cream cone or something in hand this time. And here we see the player flying through town, passing by shops like one called Fish and Chips, and even going as high as up over buildings as well. We can also see that there's a little post office below them, which I imagine is one of the places we might need to do some delivery quests for. And then there's the character casting magic while standing in the water here. Behind him there's an opened up fence with a little sunken boat tied onto it, and some shadows suggesting that there are fish beneath the surface of the water. Again, we can see magic being used by the player as she cleans up some fallen fruit, and the gift-giving mechanic here again. And even more interestingly, what appears to be a baby dragon hatching out of an egg in someone's room. This looks like a very ritzy house in town compared to some of the others, so I'm wondering if this might be a specific quest, story content, or even a professor's house that you can visit, seeing as the character is wearing a tie. Here we see the player's house again, this time decorated a bit differently than before. So now we've seen a couple of different decorations that we can have, and there's some food on the table too. I'm not sure if these are decorative items only, or if we could have people over for meals or what. And this seems to be another room inside the player's house too, since we can see the same rug and other decorations on the right side of the screen, as well as a staircase leading up to the second floor. It looks like you can have various lamps, plants, chairs, and sofas, a fireplace, different rugs, tables, and even a little record player, which I'd assume might let you choose what song is playing inside of your home. Here we see the decoration mechanic, again briefly, and then that shop stall area next to the flower farm. We can see that there are some tables here too, so I wonder if this could potentially be like a date location or something. And this clip shows a bus passing by under the player, as well as a sign that says duck crossing with a little duck standing in the road too. So I'm not sure if this is an example of wildlife you'll see in the game, or if we might be able to have ducks as some sort of tameable animal. And wait, did you think that was it? Well, we might be at the end of the second trailer, but I've actually dug up some of the most exciting information yet about Witchbrook. And you might be surprised that this information actually dropped years ago in 2019. An old Witchbrook design document shared by the Chucklefish CEO, Yuri, on Twitter actually shares a ton of absolutely incredible details on the game. So if you want even more in-depth info, we're going to get into a deep dive of it right now. Keep in mind, though, that these features aren't set in stone. They are just old development notes from back in 2019, but they are very interesting to look at and think about, especially when we're getting the recent gameplay sneak peeks right now. Speaking of gameplay, the development notes mentioned that there could be a day and night cycle in the game, with each hour being equivalent to 2 real-world minutes, as well as a calendar system dividing the school year into 4 months, with each month consisting of 30 days. Students have birthdays, and the gifts you give them for their birthdays will be displayed in their dorm rooms. The school has various school-wide events, like Halloween and Christmas-themed events, with minigames and rewards. Minigames might include things like broom racing, casino games, wizard chess, card games, and so on. You can sleep at any time during the day to wake up at 7 a.m. the following morning. Curfew will occur at 11 p.m. in the game, requiring you to return to your room and sleep in order to skip to the following day. If you choose to sneak out of your room after curfew, you may have to avoid your professors or risk getting detention the following day. This can also cause your relationship with your professors to decrease, as well as cause you to miss parts of your day. And reportedly, you can end up in detention from other things besides breaking your curfew, such as breaking other school rules or failing certain events. There's a weather system in the game, with rain going to water your garden for you, and certain fish only appearing on stormy days. Confirmed weather types so far are rain, thunderstorms, snow, and sun. Apparently, there is a lunar cycle as well that you can see using the telescope at the Astronomy Tower. The current phase of the lunar cycle can tie into quests, magic, or even determine the outcome of certain interactions you'll have. Apparently, you can target a certain star, and each star will reveal part of a message. You can piece this message together to learn something about the game world, like what the weather will be, where a rare artifact may be, and so on. And oh my gosh, yes, they added a section in the game design document on familiars. Apparently, some way into the game, you'll be able to obtain a familiar that will live in your dorm room and be able to follow you around at any time. It will emote in reaction to various items, as well as occasionally bring home gifts for you too. They don't say exactly what familiars we'll see in the game yet, but we know so far that there's art for birds, ducks, cats, dogs from that one picnic scene I showed earlier, and even baby dragons too. That would be cool. And there's listings in the development document of all of the different locations planned to be in the game, as well as NPC schedules and some other NPC information. But I'm not going to go into every single detail about those things in here. For now, I'll just share the highlights. That tutors and town NPCs aren't going to be romanceable. That there will be plenty of quests for you to do, with each one aiming to play out like a mini point-and-click adventure where you must solve a problem or puzzle, sometimes with multiple solutions. That doing main quests will permanently unlock you permits to do different spells, which will lead you to your final exam. And that you can also learn forbidden magic outside of your permitted spells, but if you get caught using it, you can face serious punishments, even expulsion. There are plenty of areas you can explore with new content unlocking as you get further through the game, like fishing and herb gardening outside of school, quests and schoolwork in school, side quests like social activities, and even dating. Apparently, these activities will all intertwine to help you have a successful overall college experience. Your ultimate goal in the game is to graduate from the school and earn your witching permit. And to do this, you'll need to do a number of main quests you'll receive from your professors in order to unlock new magic and eventually pass your certification exam. The development document also mentions that there's going to be a feature in the game called Targeting Mode, which is a state you can enter if you'd like to perform a complex interaction with an interactable object. Apparently, targeting mode will allow you to perform different actions, such as casting spells or using items or tools on the target, which could lead to unexpected results. To put it more simply, the developers see this interaction feature as a way for you to interact with everyday mundane tasks and items in a fun, silly, or magical way, like choosing to flirt with a fish to make it easier to catch. You can also just use targeting mode to target the fish and use your fishing rod on it to enter a fishing minigame and catch it. But you also might have joke, poke, and scold options to use in the game too, as well as spells, items, and tools you can try out using on objects too. So it seems like this will be a very fun try it and find out mechanic in the game. And yes, the devs did mention fishing in the document. It sounds like there will be designated fishing spots in the game, and you can directly target the shadows of the fish you see in the water. The minigame for fishing sounds similar to games like Stardew Valley or Traveler's Rest, where the fish will move around across a horizontal bar on your screen. In Witchbrook, it sounds like the fish will attempt to swim to the ends of the bar, and you'll need to pull it back toward the center. If you hold the fish steady for long enough, you'll catch it. And the fish you catch seems to be determined not only by the weather, as I mentioned before, but also by the location you choose to fish in, the rarity of the catch, and potentially even casting particular spells on the fish. The document also mentions that fish and other items can be collected in the school library, which functions similarly to how museums do in other cozy life sim games. Foraging has also been confirmed in the game, and it seems to be kind of an approach and click system. You'll be able to shake trees like in Animal Crossing, with some items falling out being rarer than others. Hopefully no beehives, though. You'll be able to forage trees once daily and flowers only once per flower, but the flowers will regrow in different spots eventually. You can also hunt for artifacts throughout the game. These rare items are apparently protected by powerful magic, and players will have to complete puzzles in order to take ownership of them. You can garden in the game too, planting seeds, watering them, and even using spells throughout their 3-stage growth cycle. And attending to your plants during their growth cycles can drastically affect your harvest. You'll also have a single flower pot available in your bedroom, and the plant you put in that pot may affect your stats for the following day, such as giving you increased stamina. So it sounds like yes, we may have a semi-confirmed stamina mechanic in the game. You'll of course be able to make potions too, and it looks like you'll need to do this inside of the college's potions lab, using the various equipment there. Potion making seems like it will be a bit of a timed minigame, where you'll have 60 seconds to make your potion and you'll need to add in your ingredients at certain times to brew it successfully, which reminds me very vaguely of the old Fantasy Life crafting system, so I hope they do this because this could be really exciting. It also sounds like there may be some fun surprises in store for us during potion making, but it seems like the developers were still brainstorming various ideas for that back at the time when they made this document. Just like potion making, you'll also be able to go to a designated location, the cafe, to cook, using the stove and oven there. Apparently, cooking will be much like potion making, but less time-based. There also may be wizard dueling in the game, where you can try to disarm your fellow students in the dueling club with various spells, and potentially duel monsters or NPCs as part of quests or activities. But the devs did note that combat and danger would not be a real player focus in this game. They also wrote briefly about mail and stamp collecting, which reminds me of the little letters, sometimes even with gifts attached, that you'd get from family in Animal Crossing. Except when your family writes you in Witchbrook, you can peel off the stamps and collect them in your witch's grimoire. This is such a cute little mechanic idea, so I hope they add this in too. There's crafting in the game. Apparently, you can use different crafting benches around the school to combine items together and make tools, although the developers were still debating how they wanted a potential crafting system to work at the time of the making of this document. And the document also mentions some additional information on the relationships you can potentially build with other characters. Apparently, there may be a heart system for building relationships. Earning bonding points with a character will fill up your hearts, turning them from empty to full. The first few hearts you can earn with a character will make them your acquaintance. The middle ones represent friendship, and the upper ones indicate romance. Whenever you earn bond points, you'll hear a sound effect and see a visual indicator too, which I imagine was that little heart icon we saw in the trailer. If you don't speak to an NPC at least once a week, you may lose points with them. And once you earn enough full hearts with a character, you'll unlock events with them that can allow you to earn or lose bonus points with them, usually by selecting correct or incorrect dialogue options in conversations with them. You can also earn points as part of quest rewards and through other events too. And sometimes NPCs will wave to you and try to start a conversation with you directly, which can lead to gained or lost bond points too. Once you earn enough full hearts, you can unlock the ability to go on dates and start relationships with characters as well. To do this, you'll have to catch the character at a certain time of day or location and choose a new dialogue option. The dates are described as unique scenarios that are exclusive to each NPC, which have different dialogue choices and potentially make use of targeting mode to make sure the date goes well. They are described as amusing and reflecting the nature of young romance, and can end with you earning additional bond points or accidentally harming the relationship. After the relationship begins, you'll need to check in with your partner regularly, or you may lose bond points and eventually break up. You can also decide to end a relationship at any time. But just like hearts can be filled up, they can also turn to stone, making them unfillable. This happens if you build enmity with a character, and some characters will start with enmity built up toward you, which you'll have to break in various ways that are unique to each character. Interestingly, throughout the gameplay, NPCs can form romantic relationships with other NPCs as well. This will turn the romance part of their meters into stone hearts temporarily, and these relationships typically only last a couple months at a time. And there's also the neat possibility that you'll be able to ask your favorite NPC to go to prom with you. The user interface, which we didn't get to see peeks of in the trailer, will apparently have some character portraits, which I know many of us have been wondering about. And most of the menus will be inside of our Witch's Grimoire, a magical fold-out map. This will record our achievements, notes, learned spells, relationships with NPCs, and the items we have in our inventories. It will also contain our Witch's Permit, which should have a series of stamps we earn as we progress through the game, kind of like collecting Pokemon badges. And the devs did mention that we might have character upgrades available to us, like fast travel between areas, as well as a cute little school newspaper that might be delivered to us once per season. And now, that's it. That's everything I know so far about Witchbrook. I know this has been one of my longest videos yet, so if you did stick with me this long, thank you so much. And I hope you learned something fun or exciting along the way. I planned on getting this out the day the trailers dropped, and then I just went down a rabbit hole, honestly, and had too much fun, and now it's like 2 days later. But anyway, it looks like there's going to be a ton to do in this game, beautiful scenery to explore, and various mechanics that will really immerse you into the magical school life vibe of the game. I'm really excited for this game to come out. What do you think about all this new information that just dropped? Are you excited for Witchbrook and about finally getting a release date? Or does it not look like your cup of tea? And what are you expecting to see in the game when it does come out? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to chat about everything more. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please take just a second to give it a quick like. And please subscribe to my channel if you want more updates on Witchbrook and other cozy games. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me again for future videos.